I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Okay, I'm back in the basement. I was just doing a little bit of puttering around. My Dracula left and right magnet switches were saying that they weren't registering. I had a credit dot. I checked both switches and switch test. They worked fine. Played through a couple games and credit dot went away. So that issue is resolved. And occasionally this switch here doesn't register in my Lord of the Rings. Sure enough, I put it in switch test and tested 50 times and it works perfectly every time. So again, can't fix something that is working. Can't fix something that is working. So I guess I'm putting that on, taking that off the to-do list. I was moving down the line here and thought I'd play a game of Nugent just to make sure the soundboard is working fine, because I've been, changing things back and forth between Magic and Nugent, soundboard-wise, ribbon cables, just testing things out, because I need to get my Magic sound working. So I was going to test the Magic soundboard in Nugent just to be sure that it works. And then I noticed that pin 1 is on this side on the original CPU, and thought I would just double check my work. So this here, this yellow wire is pin 32. That's got to go back over here. Let's just put this back. Come on now. No, maybe I'll do that off camera. But I gotta put that back together again. But anyway, so Eden Stam, you're gonna love this one. I don't know that this is the solution yet, but I think that the problem, yet again, was all me. If you look really closely, I assume this was pin 1, but honestly, I think I just had the ribbon cables in wrong. You're supposed to have the red wire on pin 1, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm tracing my pin 32, and I think it was, remember originally I had these two pins exposed? Well, if you look through a effing telescope, you can see pin 1 is labeled, but very vaguely. Why I ever thought this side might have been pin 1, I do not know. So, pin 32, red, goes all the way over to this side. Pin 1 is black. That goes over here. So I think I just had the ribbon cables plugged in wrong the whole time. Kind of like my power supply connector. I had that plugged in wrong. Actually, two of them, sort of, in a way. Anyway, long and short of it is that I might be my own problem more times than that's good for me. So, here's the grand test in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, got a little chirp. If there is volume, we may have to make sure to not. There you go. Did you hear that? That is called I am the problem, but I found the solution. All right, let's start a game. Whoa. Let's turn this way down and see what we got. Oh, cool. We got sound! Jay, the neighbor's upstairs. I was just telling him and Jamie about the sound issue and that I might be my own friggin' worst enemy sometimes. Boys and girls, we have sound. That is awesome. So, I can finally move on to the last electronics. Some pop bumpers, some drop targets, some flippers, and I'll send out the boards and we're in business. That is pretty epic. Oh, and then of course, these rollovers I got to deal with, displays. I still got lots of work to do, but this was a bit of a hurdle. Michael, it happens. So learn from my mistakes, people. If you're using an Alltech board, pin 1 is on the right, which is pretty intuitive if you're not a shenanigander like myself, but I'm gonna probably swap in the old ribbon cables, because if they're working fine, then I'll preserve my new ones for when they're actually required. Anyway, I am going to move on. Okay, so I used the remaining good parts from my slingshot pile to make one good slingshot. And I'll stick this in a little baggie along with the washer, screws, and spring. And this will be good for a rainy day. I do have a Stern Galaxy in storage, so they'll bust that out one day and maybe I'll need that then. Okay, I reflowed the credit display and player 2 display. And I get a lovely chirp every time I turn on the machine now. I did swap out the new ribbon cables for the originals, and they are working just fine and dandy. So now the question is, how are my displays? Well, currently doesn't show up very well on camera, so I don't know if you can tell or not, but no more flicker. Let's see, when I wiggled it before, it would start flickering. Okay, displays are done. Okay, I was struggling with taking off these screws with the Playfield just standing up. Very awkward, so I said, screw it, and I just flipped the Playfield, and so much better. Now I can deal with the pop bumpers and drop targets. I can clean all the underside switches, and well, I don't have my flipper parts yet, but I like this alignment much better. All right, we should be free. There we go. Oh, there's a plate on the inside that this plate gets screwed to. Oh, that'll be fun to line up. I'm glad I didn't try and do that with the Playfield propped up. That would have been a nightmare. So, time to take this bad boy apart and clean it up. Okay, this thing is disassembled and cleaned up. Drop targets came out nice. You can see a little bit of fade where the faces are exposed to the outside world. A little bit of yellowing, but that's okay. Everything else is good to go, so I'll clean up the couple parts still attached to the Playfield and then stick this guy back together. We're gonna have to take a break from Magic because shenaniganders have arrived.
Hey,
look at the shirt. What? Did you steal Ray's ball? How dare you? Did you have a multi-ball?
For 2 seconds.
No way. That's like friggin' wizard mode in this game.